Here's a thought that might just rearrange your entire week. You are no longer legally, morally, or financially required to put up with people who drive you absolutely crazy. You spent 40-plus years being polite to coworkers you couldn't stand. You showed up to potlucks you would have paid good money to skip. You smiled at your brother-in-law's fishing stories so many times you could recite them in your sleep. And honestly, you probably have. You bit your tongue so hard and so often it's a genuine medical miracle you can still taste your morning coffee. Well, my friend, I've got news that's better than a fully funded 401k. That season of your life is over. Because retirement isn't just the end of your commute. It's not just the end of Monday meetings that could have been an email. Retirement is the end of tolerating nonsense from people who never earned a spot in your life to begin with. You have a limited, precious, gloriously finite number of good mornings left on this planet, and I refuse to let you spend a single one of them managing somebody else's bad attitude. So today, I'm walking you through the exact types of people you need to gently, lovingly, and sometimes permanently show the door. All right, deep breath. Here we go. 1. The one-upper, aka the competitive braggart. The person who cannot let you have a single nice moment without turning it into a contest they have to win. You go to Italy. They went to Italy twice, and their hotel was nicer, and their tour guide was practically a member of the family. You get a new car. Oh, they were just looking at that model, but they went with the upgraded trim, obviously. You mention your grandkid made the honor roll. Well, their grandkid is basically running a small nonprofit, and colleges are already calling. Spending time with the one-upper is like trying to enjoy a nice sunset while somebody stands next to you yelling, "Mine's bigger." And here's the sad little secret underneath all that noise. The one-upper is usually the most insecure person in the room. All that bragging isn't strength, it's a smoke machine. They're so worried they don't measure up that they've turned every conversation into a scoreboard, because if they're winning, then maybe, just maybe, they're okay. But knowing why they do it doesn't mean you have to sit there and be the audience for it. You've reached an age where you've got absolutely nothing left to prove to anybody. You know what you've built. You know what you've lived through. You don't need to win the vacation Olympics against somebody at a barbecue. The real freedom of this stage of life is being genuinely happy for other people and genuinely content with your own lot. No scoreboard, no smoke machine, no yelling about sunsets. If somebody can't just be happy for you, if every bit of your good news has to become their better news, you don't need to keep feeding them material. Keep the good stuff for the people who cheer. 2. The unsolicited advice giver. The person who has never once been asked a question but always has the answer. You mention you're thinking about repainting the living room. Suddenly, they're an interior designer. You bring up a little back pain, and now they're a spinal surgeon with a treatment plan involving a special pillow they saw on the internet. You so much as whisper the word investment near this person, and buddy, buckle up, because they heard about a guy whose nephew tripled his money in crypto, and they think you should get in before it's too late. This person cannot let you simply be. Every choice you make is an open invitation for a lecture. And what makes it extra special is that they deliver all of this with the confidence of someone who has read exactly one article and watched half of a documentary. You chose to click on this video. You invited me into your day. The unsolicited advice giver kicks the door down and starts rearranging your furniture. The reason this one matters so much in retirement is that you finally reach the age where you get to make your own calls without answering to a boss, a corporation, or anybody's approval. That's the reward. That's the whole prize. So the last thing you need is somebody treating your perfectly good decisions like a rough draft that needs their red pen all over it. You're allowed to say, "Thanks, I've got it handled." You're allowed to smile, nod, and then do exactly what you were always going to do. You have earned the right to run your own life without a running commentary from the peanut gallery. 3. The financial freeloader. This is the person who has quietly, gradually, and very conveniently decided that your retirement savings are a shared community resource, a neighborhood well, and they keep showing up with a bucket. Sometimes it's the friend who forgot their wallet so many times you're starting to think they've never actually owned one. Sometimes it's the buddy who always suggests the nice restaurant and then gets real quiet and interested in the ceiling when the check lands. And very often, I know, it's an adult child who treats the bank of mom and dad like it's got a drive-through window and 24-hour service. Here's the trap, and it is a sneaky one. Because you love these people, you tell yourself it's generosity. And generosity is beautiful. Helping the people you love is one of the great joys of having built something in this life. I would never tell you to stop being generous, but there's a razor-thin line between generosity and being someone's personal ATM, and the difference comes down to one word: respect. Generosity flows toward people who appreciate it, who'd never dream of taking advantage, who'd give it right back if the tables turn. Freeloading flows toward people who started to expect it, who get annoyed even when the faucet slows down. You worked, you saved, you sacrificed, and you built this nest egg to last you the rest of your life, not to subsidize somebody who's decided planning ahead is optional because you'll always cover the difference. It is okay to say, I love you and I can't do that this time. Protecting your financial future isn't selfish, it's the responsible thing. Because here's the cold truth nobody wants to say. Nobody is coming to bail you out. That safety net is you. So quit setting it on fire to keep somebody else warm. Number 4, the guilt tripper. Also, the world champion of the heavy sigh. This is the person who has mastered the ancient art of making you feel terrible for living your own life. And they rarely come out and say what they want directly. Oh no, that would be far too easy. Instead, they deploy the sigh, the pause, the no, it's fine, you go enjoy your trip, I'll just be here. Here being their home, which is comfortable, where they are perfectly capable, sighing dramatically into a throw pillow. Now, sometimes the guilt tripper is a friend, but let's be honest, very often the guilt tripper is family. It might be an adult child who thinks retirement means you've been promoted to full-time unpaid babysitter with no vacation days. It might be a sibling who's decided because you have a little free time now, you're personally responsible for organizing every family gathering until the end of days. They've got a knack for taking your one small no and inflating it into a full-blown betrayal of the family name. Here's what I need you to hear. You did your time. You raised the kids. You showed up for decades. You earned this chapter. Spending your own money on your own life is not a crime, and choosing to rest is not the same as abandoning people. No is a complete sentence. You do not need to attach a doctor's note, a 3-part explanation, and a PowerPoint presentation to it. The guilt tripper is counting on you being too worn down to hold your ground. Prove them wrong. Say no, mean it, and then, this is the important part, do not spend the next 3 days marinating in guilt about it. That guilt, set it down. It was never yours.
Number 5, the flake. This next one's more annoying than it is heartbreaking. The flake loves you. The flake adores you. The flake would never let you down, except for every single time they let you down. You make plans. Lunch on Thursday, you're excited, you picked the place, you even wore the nice shirt. And then, right on schedule, the text arrives. So sorry, something came up. Rain check? And that rain check joins the 11 other rain checks in the great unclaimed pile of rain checks that will never, ever be cashed. The flake is a master of the last-minute bail. And in your working years, you tolerated this because honestly, half the time you were relieved to have the evening back anyway. But retirement changes the math completely. See, when you were working, your free time was scarce and precious, so a canceled plan was almost a gift. But now your time is your whole life, and there is nothing more deflating than getting yourself ready, getting excited about something, and then having it yanked away at the last second by somebody who treats your plans like a suggestion they'll consider if nothing better comes along. Here's what the flake is really telling you, whether they mean to or not. You are their backup plan. You are plan B. You're the if nothing else pans out option. And you, my friend, are nobody's plan B. Now, I'm not saying you cut somebody off for one canceled lunch. Life genuinely happens. But when it's a pattern, when it's a personality trait, you're allowed to quietly stop extending invitations. Pour your time into the people who actually show up, the ones who put on the nice shirt too. Number 6, the you've changed critic. This is the person who liked you so much better when you were tired, stressed, overworked, and had no time for yourself. Because here's what happens when you retire and you finally start taking care of yourself. You get some rest, you pick up hobbies, you start saying no to things that drain you. You get a little glow back. You start living on your own terms for the first time in decades. And some people you thought were in your corner, do not like that one bit. They like the old you, the one who was always available, the one who never questioned anything, the one who was too exhausted to notice they were being taken advantage of. And now that you've got boundaries and a spring in your step, they've got a complaint. You've changed. You think you're better than us now. You've gotten selfish since you retired. Let me translate that for you because I've heard it 100 times. You've changed almost always means you've stopped letting me benefit from your exhaustion. You've gotten selfish usually means you've started considering yourself for once, and I liked it better when you didn't. This one stings the most because it usually comes from people who've been around a long time, and it forces a hard, grown-up realization. Some relationships were only ever built on what you could do for somebody, not on who you actually are. Growth is supposed to make you a little uncomfortable, and it's supposed to make the takers in your life very uncomfortable. That discomfort isn't a sign you did something wrong, it's a sign you finally did something right. The people who truly love you will be thrilled to see you thriving. The ones who resent it just told you exactly what they were getting out of the arrangement all along.
Number 7, the time thief. The time thief operates on one deeply flawed assumption, that because you're retired, your time is now worthless. Free, up for grabs, a resource just lying around waiting to be spent by anybody but you. Oh, you're retired so you can drive me to the airport at 4 a.m. You're retired so you can wait at my house for my cable guide during my 8-hour window. You're retired, you've got nothing but time. And that right there is the great lie of retirement, and I want to demolish it right now. Retired does not mean idle. It does not mean available, and it absolutely does not mean your time is less valuable than everybody else's. If anything, your time is now more valuable than it has ever been, because you finally understand exactly how much of it you've got, and you've decided to spend it on purpose. The time thief hasn't figured that out yet, so they'll keep helping themselves to your afternoons like your calendar is a bowl of free candy at the front desk, and every hour you hand over to their errands and their favors and their 8-hour cable windows is an hour you didn't spend on the garden, the grandkids, the trip, the nap, the whole life you spent 40 years earning the right to enjoy. You're allowed to protect your time like the treasure it is. I'm not free that day is a perfectly good answer, and here's the beautiful part. You don't owe anybody your itinerary to prove it. Your time is yours now. Guard it like your last good pair of reading glasses. Now, I want to be crystal clear about something before you go, because I know how these lists can land. This is not about becoming a bitter, isolated hermit who slams the door on the whole world. Please, please don't do that. The goal isn't to have fewer people in your life, it's to have the right ones. Every person you stop tolerating is an open seat at the table, and that seat can now go to somebody who fills you up instead of draining you dry. Somebody who shows up, somebody who's genuinely happy to see you thriving. Retirement is prime real estate, the good years, the ones you saved and sacrificed for, and you should not be renting rooms in it to people who don't pay their emotional rent. You spent a lifetime taking care of everybody else. This chapter, right here, this one gets to be about you, and that is not selfish or cold. That is you finally valuing the one life you actually get. So here's your homework, and I mean it. Think of one person who came to mind while you watched this video. You know who it is. You've probably been thinking about them since number 1. You don't have to blow anything up today. Just start with a little boundary. A no without the guilt. A weekend you keep for yourself. Small steps. Watch how much lighter you feel. Drop a comment down below. Tell me which one you recognized. And no judgment, we've all got at least one. Give the video a like so it finds more folks who need to hear it. Take care of yourself out there. Guard your energy, guard your time, and I'll see you in the next one.